You get up. You get up. You get up. Good night. So, man, we a little short on time now. Good night to everyone. Thank you so much for coming to St. Joseph. We are red and we are ready. You're going to say it with me. We are red and we are ready. We are red and we are ready. Now, that's not original because they use that in Trinidad, but I think it applies to us. We are red and we are ready. Now, I don't know if you could tell, but Mia is sick tonight. Mia is catching the flu. But there's something about the energy of that woman that drives her to come out and participate in these events, even though she's under the weather. So I want to thank Mia very much for still coming up. Now, they told me that I don't have a lot of time, but I am honored to speak after her. The tradition in the Labour Party family has always been that the leader speaks last. And Mia has very graciously offered to me the opportunity to speak after her in the ancestral home of the Barbados Labour Party. I don't think there are many people alive, or I don't think there are many people in this room who have probably ever met Grant Lee Adams. But you don't need to meet greatness in order for it to stay with you. I certainly have never met Jesus Christ. But the values that he instilled in us are still with us today. And the values that Grant Lee Adams set for this party when it was in its newborn days are still with us. And those are the very values that we as a political organization intend to take into governance. When I tell you that we are ready, I don't just mean that we are ready for an election. We are ready for the election. In fact, this is my 4th election, and I don't ever remember being as ready before as we are now. I think we stunned the Dems on the 1st of January when we put up posters. The Dems are shaking in their boots because we have things to say and people to talk to. If you've looked at any of the videos of their meetings, they can barely scrape 25 or 30 people. And we put 500 chairs in this room today. 500 chairs are in this room and there's still another 200 people outside. We are red and we are ready. Now I have a very short message. Short only because Peter Phillips took up my speaking time, but that's all right, he's my friend. I had wanted to talk to you about the issues that are affecting us, not just in St. Joseph, but in the entire of the Scotland district. This has been labeled as a community meeting. And there's one community called Barbados, and I know that when I have constituents with problems in Darthole, the people in Deacons Road will feel it. And when I have constituents with problems in Bathsheba, the people in Bank Hall will feel it. And so I had a very long speech to talk about Darthole and the slippage, to talk about the fact that the road infrastructure in St. Joseph and in St. Andrew and St. E.S. in St. Thomas and even Mara Thompson in St. John is crumbling. I have a long speech to talk about all those things. But I want to tell you that we are meeting tonight, not just in the ancestral home of the Barbados Labour Party, but we're meeting in a place that carries our distinguished founder's name, the Grantley Adams School. And this place, for better or for worse, is a troubled place. I don't have to tell you about the stabbings. And Dwight has spoken to you about the chairman of the board of this school who happens to have a consultancy with the Ministry of Education dealing with deviance and at-risk youth. I don't need to talk about those things. But I will tell you that what is happening in this place, in this school, is but a reflection of what is happening in our wider society. You see, the stabbings in this school would not be happening if there was not a multiplied set of stabbings in our greater society. The indiscipline in this school would not be felt in the same way as it's being felt now if there was not indiscipline in a mounting way all across our country. And it suits the Democratic Labour Party to stand back and blame the Barbados Labour Party for a sewage treatment plant. They're blaming us for this and they're blaming us for that. But you know, we have come to understand, and Mia summed it up quite well, when they don't have anything to say about their own record, they spend their time cursing the bees. So having nothing to say about what they have done that is good for this country, they now are spending time cursing the Barbados Labour Party. I don't like horse racing. I've never been a horse racing fan. But if any of you are horse racing fans and you went to the Garrison this Saturday and you bet on a horse and it lost, and you go back next Saturday and bet on the same horse and it lost again, and you go back another Saturday, I mean, what are you going to do with your $10 or $20? You got to change your horse. Keep your money in your pocket, buy snow cones, do anything, but you cannot in all conscience go and vote on the same horse. The Democratic Labour Party reminds me of that horse, because they came to all of you and all of us 10 years ago. Now, 10 years doesn't seem like a long time, you know. Doesn't seem like a long time. And they came to us 10 years ago like that horse, promising to win. You know, it bothers me every time the Democratic Labour Party says that they're the party for the poor people. You've heard it. The Democratic Labour Party insists that they are the party for the poor people. It took me a long time to figure out, but I've now begun to realize what they mean. That is the party that does make people poor. That's it, you know. The Democratic Labour Party makes people poor, and it makes poor people poorer. Because, you know, that is like saying, I am a good doctor, but all my patients is dead. Or I am like Hal Gollop, I am a good lawyer, but I just lose every case. So, think about it. How can you claim to be the party of Arabara and the party of poor people when every time that you that you sit in the driver's seat of this country, poor people get poorer? So there's something wrong with that equation. Something is wrong with that equation. So the horse keeps losing every week at the Garrison. And good Lord, the time has come for Barbadians to say, we can't bet on this horse anymore. I want to spend a minute telling you about how people in rural Barbados live. Many of you have come to this constituency from St. Michael. I see Team Bostic and Team Holder, all my friends. I want to salute Team Charles and Team Kirk and Team Peter. I don't want to leave out anybody, but you know, I'm betting on a few horses myself. But you know, I want to tell you a little bit about how country people live, not just St. Joseph, but St. Andrew and St. Lucy Peter and St. John. There are people who go into the Fairchild Street bus stand or the bus stand, the Jubilee or wherever it is. They go into the bus stand at 4:30. And at 7 o'clock, they're still waiting for a bus. Now, when I was going to school, my mother used to work was a seamstress, and she used to work at Pink Pelican Laundry. I don't know how many of you remember Pink Pelican. A man named Tyrone Laville does work there now. It used to be called Pink Pelican, right? And my mother used to work at Pink Pelican, and I would walk from Commonwealth School into the bus stand. I would catch the 5 o'clock bus, and with any luck, my mother would be in the 5 o'clock bus on Roebuck Street, and we'd come home together. I didn't like it because it meant I had to behave good in the bus. But with any luck. But there were days when she couldn't get that 5 o'clock bus, so she had to get the 6 or the 7. Now, my father wasn't a very good cook, God bless his soul. He's still living, and he's still not a very good cook. So, our diet was not exactly as it should be unless mommy got home early. And you may think that I'm making light of a situation and cracking a joke, but you know what? I want you to think about a mother or father who gets up at 6 o'clock or perhaps 5, takes a 6 o'clock bus to work, if you're lucky. You work all day, you go to a bus stand, 7 o'clock, you're hoping to get a bus maybe to Pie Corner or to Bathsheba, if you're lucky. Because by then, 2,000 people waiting for that bus because they had the 5 to 6 on. And then somebody wants to tell you that you are a bad parent. You managed to get home at 7:38. The dust of the day is on your skin. Your children haven't eaten. You probably got a headache. Hope your husband leave you alone. And the next morning, you got to go again. And somebody will tell you that you are not a good parent. But somehow the government wants to blame all of those issues on the Barbados Labour Party. Well, let me tell you, and we talk a lot about buses, but it is only because buses are a reflection of what's happening in our country. So let me share with you a few numbers, nothing complicated. We have 3 bus depots, Mangrove, Spikestone, and Weymouth. Now, there's supposed to be 56 buses allocated to Weymouth every day. But on the average day, they only have 20 buses. There's supposed to be 42 allocated to Spikestone, but on the average day, they only have 12, Peter. And Weymouth, that's the biggie, supposed to have 130, but on the average day, they only have 48. And somehow, the Democratic Labour Party wants to tell us that the Barbados Labour Party is at fault for all of the ills of this country. There are roads in Barbados, and roads specifically in my constituency, and yes, in St. Lucie, and St. Andrew, and St. John, and St. Thomas, that have not seen tar in 10 years until last week. Until last week. Have not seen tar in 10 years until last week. But somehow, they want to tell you to come and bet on that horse again. The problems that we face, and never mind Maria Agard, who finds it convenient to say to the country that Barbados Labour Party created the problems with the South Coast Sewage Treatment Plant. I don't know who wrote the speech, but it is public knowledge that that sewage treatment plant was designed under Branford Tate, now deceased, and that Branford Tate signed the contract for the funding, and that the Barbados Labour Party came to power and we built the plant that was designed and accepted by the Dems. We had a vote of no confidence in Parliament dealing with the same sewage treatment plant, and the same wonderful Maria Agard spent her entire speech castigating the government, not the bees, the government. but now it suits her because it is politically expedient to make it appear as though the Barbados Labour Party is at fault. And a man named Guy Samirs, who wanted to run in St. Joseph, wrote a story saying that people are sabotaging the Dems and sabotaging the plant and sabotaging public works and sabotaging the police and sabotaging the hospital. For everything that is going wrong in this country, they refuse to accept any blame and are saying instead that the bees are sabotaging things. I don't think I have any more time left on my clock. But I will say this to you. Barbados is without doubt at the crossroads. We can either go up or we can go down. I have forgotten what up used to be like. Because the last time we were going up was 2008. For the last 10 years, we have only been going down, so I know down only too well. And I want to tell you that I do not like down. I don't believe that you like down either. There's a decision that has to be made. I have about 500 new voters on my voters list. We track it every day. 500 new voters. And I know that these new voters do not remember what it was like to have a Barbados Labour Party in power. Anybody who turned 18 years old in January was 8 years old when we lost the election. It is pointless you and I telling them about what a wonderful job the Barbados Labour Party did then. Because it's like talking about the 8% cut. People do not remember it. But I want you to join with me in telling them, let us forget the past. Let us look ahead. Let us look ahead. Because Barbados has to have a brighter future in store for it than what is being presented by the Democratic Labour Party today. We've spent a week in Parliament. It is a week that half of it the Dems spent talking to themselves because we said to the country, this is a farcical exercise. There's no point doing this. Parliament has a few days left, and the Dems are doing nothing more than securing an opportunity to spend Barbados' taxpayers' dollars after the election is called. That is what we're faced with. A government that thinks only of itself but thinks nothing of the people. Now, I believe that we are ready, and I am confident that we are going to secure a victory. But I want to caution you that the race has not really yet started. There are not a lot of things that the Prime Minister said I listened to, but I did remember him saying that when you're out there running by yourself, you just feel like you're real fast until the other people enter the race. And I have 3 other people entering my race in St. Joseph. Happily, Charles only got a fight against a lady named Mara Thompson. Ronald Topping has about 12 people running against him. George Payne only still has Irene. And the people in St. Lucie are so happy to see Peter that I don't think they can pay any attention to Kelman or any of the other 2. But while the election has started, the race itself has not started yet. We have called on the Prime Minister to call his election, to call our election, to call the election. And his days are numbered. There are now only about 17 or 18 days until the 5th or 6th of March. But we also know that he has another 90 days within which he can call the election. And all that this estimates exercise was about was making sure that they have the ability to sign government's checkbook during that period. Now, I want to tell you that at 11 o'clock last night, I was still in the precincts of Parliament because we were working on the report of the Public Accounts Committee. And while I cannot disclose to you the things that are in that document, I want to say to the public servants of Barbados that they are taxpayers too, and that if they sit back idly and allow the Democratic Labour Party to lick out the taxpayers' money in order to win an election, then they are as culpable as every single Democratic Labour Party candidate. This is what is facing us. The Dems talk about the Barbados Labour Party buying votes. Ladies and gentlemen, last election, we ain't had no money to buy no votes. But they want to create in your mind the impression that the Barbados Labour Party does not play fair. They want to create in your mind that we are desperate. They want to create in your mind that we will do anything to win. When the truth of the matter is that it is the Democratic Labour Party that does not play fair. It is the Democratic Labour Party that is desperate, and it is the Democratic Labour Party that will do anything in their power to win. But our victory is not about ourselves. Our victory is a victory that we are hoping to secure for a generation of Barbadians who do not know what it is like to be successful. They do not know what it is like to have a government that cares. They do not know what it is like to have a government that takes responsibility for its actions. And that is what the team that I am a part of, the team that is led by wonderful Mia Amor-Motley, is offering to this country. We have not yet won the race because the race has not yet started. But if you, like we, keep our focus and keep our eye on not the prize, because the only prize is a successful country, but if you keep your eye on the mission, then we will succeed. And if we succeed, and when we succeed for all of Barbados. There was a time when our philosophy was, don't go for the bronze, don't go for the silver, go for the gold. You remember those glorious days? When Barbados was a champion, when Barbados was focused on winning, when Barbados was focused on success and prosperity. And we have a government that is now saying, don't even bother to think about gold or silver or bronze. It's all right if you come last. In fact, don't even bother to show up for the race. Those days have to be consigned to history. Let us vote for a prosperous Barbados. Let us vote for a successful Barbados. Let us once more live a dream that we sometimes feel, it don't matter anymore. It don't matter anymore. But don't let's give in to those frustrations. Thank you very much. I want to single out a wonderful lady, Sainty Agandano. I want to single out a wonderful lady named Pat Paris. I don't need her to come to the platform. But in 2012, Pat and I were involved in a at times bitter race to see who would run for this seat. I won, Pat lost. But from day one, Pat threw her weight and her every energies into helping me to secure a victory in St. Joseph. I am now Pat Paris's #1 fan. And even now that she has to lift up the leader of this party, Mia Motley, Pat still finds time to help to make sure that our campaign in St. Joseph, our team St. Joseph, is a success. And Pat, I want to thank you, but I mentioned Pat because I want to remind you in my closing words that none of us can do this alone. Peter Phillips cannot do it by himself. Dwight Sutherland can't do it by himself. Every single one of our 30 candidates need to be able to lean on your shoulders so that you can help us to bring home the victory. I am looking forward to a successful campaign, a victorious Barbados Labour Party. Good night. Thank you for coming, and God bless you.
Comrades all, please. I want to thank you sincerely for coming. And I also want to thank the Board of Management here at the Grantley Adams School for allowing us to use the hall. I just want to ask those able-bodied persons among us, please help us stack the chairs because you will appreciate school is on here tomorrow morning. Thank you for your kindness. Do get home safely. God bless you until we see you next week. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Next week, listen.